morning, my beautiful people. You're not tuning in to another episode of the We Komplete Podcast here on DG93. I am your host, Complete, with my beautiful co-host, She Complete. How you doing?
Doing well. Good morning, everyone. We are excited.
Absolutely.
We have one of our own in the building. I say our own because she's a creative just like us, an artist. Like, she can do some of everything, a Jill of all trades. But we want to introduce to some or reintroduce to many Miss Vanesha Chanta. How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. She's always had this beautiful smile and this contagious energy. We want the people to get to know who you are. So give us a, because we could talk all day about what you've done and what you're doing, but if we can get a snippet of your bio and why you're here today.
Well, I am, as you said, a creative. I've been creating since I can remember. I've always written stories and things of that nature, into music. And I actually have a premiere for my latest film on the 25th called Postpartum. Called Love Forever After, a postpartum depression story. And it just focuses on the symptoms and a story of how somebody deals with postpartum depression and how it affects the people in the family and the person specifically.
I love that. So you probably saw on your job form, but we filled it out. We plan on being there. And tell people the date and the time. Okay.
It's going to be August 25th. That's a Sunday in Beauregard, Mississippi. That's right next to Weston, if you don't know, at 5 p.m. And then, yeah.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Well, you're really humble, and I love it. But let's get more into I know you said you didn't really put an age on it, but do you remember the age where you were really into writing and creating, like when it started, kind of around what age?
I could definitely say kindergarten.
That's beautiful.
I remember going through some of my stuff a while ago when I was young. I was just going through a bunch of notebooks that I had, and I was reading through some of the stories and different things I wrote, and I had a very creative imagination. It was just, I don't know, I've always been the type of person that just live outside the box and always imagine stories and things of that nature. So I guess kindergarten is as far back as I can remember. My mom bought me a karaoke machine, and I used to record songs on there and interview family members, just always trying to create stories outside of where I was at.
You remind me of my husband. He said that we know what we want to do at a very young age. Most of us don't realize it.
Right.
So for you to say kindergarten, that alludes to the fact that he's like, you be knowing, you just got to look deep on side.
Yeah,
right.
Look down inside.
People try to act like they know in either high school or college. I'm like, nah, when you're super young, So as a fellow creative, we all know that if you in the artistic genre, you do it all, because you gotta do media, you gotta do radio, you gotta do photography, filming, you gotta do music videos, whatever it is. If you do one, you do them all.
Right.
So my question to you is, what was the first one that caught you? Because for me, it was music. So what was the first one? Was it writing? Was it acting? Or was it music, photography? Which one was the first one that just grabbed you?
Definitely music. A lot of my family members sing. My grandpa sung, he was always known for his voice. And then when I started singing, everybody, oh, you remind me of granddad. So yeah, definitely music. My mom used to buy me little small keyboards. I taught myself how to play the piano, guitars, just all kind of musical instruments. Music is definitely, that's home for me. Yeah. So music is my first creative venture, I guess you can say.
Yeah, we ain't gonna undersell the voice. You can sing.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been in the studio together. You can sing. So what is as artists, because with a lot of other different things, whether it's like medical or stuff like that, you have goals. With artists, it's kind of hard to, we have milestones we want to hit, but we don't really have goals, because it never happens how you think it's going to happen, and sometimes you overshoot it anyway. So with you, what are those key milestones you looking to hit, and what are the ones if you've already accomplished?
Honestly, I just want to create. Like, I don't really have like a set goal. Like, I want to get here. I want to get here. Like, a lot of people come to me, they be like, oh, you want to be famous? I'm like, no, I don't want to be famous. I just want to be able to create and not worry about how to pay my bills and different things like that. You know, I want to do this for a living. So honestly, yeah, just create, and then create like a space for other creatives to come together. We can collaborate, because I really feel at peace when I'm able to create and not have to worry about going to a 9 to 5 and, you know, have to worry about this, that, and the third. So just being able to, I guess you can say my goal or whatever is to be able to create, and that be the only thing that I'm doing. Whether I'm, you know, creating and then have a school or something where I can have younger kids, or I can help them hone in on what they want to do, or whether I'm creating, you know, some kind of community for other creatives to come together. Like, that is my main goal, to just help creatives come together so we can create.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's in the sense of, and I get exactly what you're talking about. We, as artists, we just want to create art. We don't really care about all the, if you ask your typical artist about the fame, none of us want it.
Right.
I don't want no fame. I don't want to be famous. I just want to be able to get paid to do this.
Exactly.
This is my piece. This is why I'm happy. So with me, I'm in the same lines with you. I don't have goals, but I do have things that not necessarily want to accomplish for the gratification of it. It's basically just me as a kid when I used to dream. Like, I've dreamed of performing at the Super Bowl. So, of course, me performing at the Super Bowl is going to bring me a whole bunch of fame. I'm not doing it for the fame. I'm doing it because that kid, that 6-year-old version of me that wants to do that. You know, this past weekend, I got a chance to perform in my own high school field. It's never been done. That's a milestone for me. You know, regardless of what comes from it, I don't care what comes from it. I'm happy that I achieved that milestone, because I had visions of performing on King's Field, and I did it. You know, so with you, of course, you just, you know, we're not doing it for the fame, but there are some milestones. You would love to receive an Emmy for what you've written. You know, you love to see a Grammy for a song you sung. But don't get me wrong, regardless if you get it or not, that don't define your greatness.
Right.
You're great regardless. But we still have those like milestones we want to hit.
Well, I guess a milestone I could say is definitely having one of my films on the big screen. Or either just streaming on some streaming platform.
We're going to the big screen.
So yeah, that's a milestone. Also, I've always dreamed of auditioning for one of these singing shows. I don't necessarily want to win. I want to just get that exposure
experience,
and then be able to network with people who are there. I've always had this vision of me just, you know, going on one of these singing competitions and just blowing people away. So yeah, I guess those are some milestones.
I love it when she said, I just want to be in the right room, basically.
Right.
And network. You remind me of myself when my first job was for a PR agency out of Atlanta, and I used to get on the bus really like maybe once a month and go to Atlanta to work events and things of that nature. One event that we were working, Neo was there, and everybody else wanted a picture. Everybody else wanted to just say hey and talk to him. I wanted his email address. I wanted his email address because I had a boyfriend at the time that's doing music, and I need to connect him because Neo do music, and you never know. So for like a year, I consistently sent him Chris's music through his email that he gave me, and I got his mama's cell phone number. Like I was just like you. Like, it's about being in the room, because one thing about us, we know who we are. That's just what it is. Like, we don't need anyone to tell us who we are. We know we're creative. We know we're good. We know we can do things with the right opportunity, with the right time. We can take advantage of it. So we just need to be around the right person that's going to give us that opportunity. Right. And earlier, as you was talking, I was thinking about the word impact. That's what you want to do. Yeah. You want to make an impact. You want to leave a legacy. You want to leave if something ever happens to Vanesha, and we live in a world where we all got our end date. So whenever that happens, you want people to say, Vanesha was awesome. She created this amazing content. You want them to go back and watch your movies and say, wow, this girl is talented. This girl was talented, and spread it along to the generations after you. So all of us in this room is making an impact for sure.
Let's backtrack that though. We're all creatives. Like we really don't want nobody to give us no opportunity. We just need a budget.
Right.
Let's be honest.
Part,
We don't want nobody to give us
true.
nothing. We just need the budget and we need the access. Hey, can I use this building?
Definitely.
We'll film it ourselves, you know.
Right.
So I want to backtrack. I don't want people to get confused and be like, yes, we're not gonna turn down like a chance to work with Denzel Washington. You wouldn't turn that down.
Right.
But at the same time, it'll be even dope to get like an up and coming actor from your state of Mississippi and turn him into a Denzel Washington.
Right.
That hits even harder to say he got his break from her film.
I love that. I feel like we've entertained both of those lanes.
Yeah.
Because when we first started, we did need something to get us there. But as we went on this road and we started taking opportunities, I know for me personally, I know Chris can agree with it. We started realizing we could create our own. We started realizing, you know, that movie was cool, you know, but now that I know you can do it, now I can do it.
I know if that's on Tubi.
I know.
We can get on there.
Yeah.
Because that quality was terrible. Like we've seen many movies and the audio is the first thing that's just terrible. And I'm like, this made it.
Yeah.
But it goes to show you we live in a world where, just be honest, if you can afford it, you can have it.
Right. My thing is, when I look at stuff like that, it's like, okay, it wasn't that good, but they had the audacity to do it. And for me, that's something that I've been struggling with for years. Just like, okay, because I'm a perfectionist. Like I'm the type that if it's not perfect, I don't want to put it out. But I eventually put it out because I'm like, okay. I think about being creative as this. You have a certain amount of ideas and creations that you have at that moment. You know, of course we have a capacity, and until I start releasing stuff, I won't get anything new.
That's real.
So that's why I put some stuff out, you know. And like I said, I'm a perfectionist, and I critique my stuff more than anybody else. So until I get the audacity to just put it out and learn from my mistakes and keep going, like you'll never get there. So I know a lot of people laugh at the Tubi movies and all of that stuff, but I look at it as courage because you know, a lot of people don't have the courage to get laughed at or you know, somebody talk about their stuff. And as creatives, whatever we put out, that's our heart. So we don't want people to laugh at how we truly feel, you know. So
that's real. So
it takes a lot of courage to put something bad out.
If they laughing at it, they still talking about it though.
True.
And you sound like me. My wife will tell you, like sometimes I come to her with an idea that needs $1 million budget, and she'll just look at me and gotta reel me back like, hey, calm down. We can't get airplanes.
I tell them to put a pin
Right.
in that one. Let's do something that we can afford or that we have access to.
But you've helped me with dealing with what Vanesha is talking about. It's like a lot of times I don't want to do something because I want it to be so good, so great. And I'm like, man, if I can't get it on this level, because we got to be honest, we are prisoners of social media sometimes. We see fellow creators and they doing this. You're like, man, I can do that too. So if ours don't look like that, we don't want to put ours out, you know, because we want our stuff. You want your stuff to look like Warner Brothers did it,
right?
You know, I want my music video to look like $1 million, $2 million budget. I'm like, that's not realistic. We're still creators. We got to find a space of still putting out dope content with good quality, but yet it still isn't like, it don't have to be over the top and over dramatic.
One thing that keeps me going though as a creative is knowing that everyone started somewhere. It was this lady, her name is Maya Eloise. I was watching her, I follow her and I like her content, and she posted a video the other day of when she first started. It was a regular camera, her hair was how it was, like it was just regular makeup, and then like she did a transformation video of how she is today. Hair, you know, it's ready. Like, you know, she's ready, makeup on point, like everything. But she was like, I started. And that is what gets me going. You say that I helped you with doing it, but so did you with me. Like when I think about what we've done over the past year, this year, last year, we just did it. And like you said, you won't know where you can grow until you do it and learn from your mistakes. Then you can have someone give you some criticism, and you can take what you need to take and leave what you need to leave. But you won't know until you start.
Right.
So I appreciate all the starters. And let me tell you, if you're going to start, keep going.
Exactly.
You got to keep going. A lot of people start, and because they don't get the support or the likes and the shares, like what if it's just you, Chris, and I that show up to your premiere? Is that going to stop you?
Oh no.
Exactly. But for some people, if only 10 people showed up, that's going to stop them. They invited 100, but only 10 people showed up. No. Okay. Well, they missed out.
Right.
We just had a back to school bash, and I would say it was about 100 people that attended, but it didn't look like it because everybody was spread out. Like we had it on King Field, so everybody could go wherever they wanted to go to sit. Plus, it was still people outside with the vendors. But I eyed about 100 people total. And towards the end of the event, the Holy Spirit called my husband, and it was just such a beautiful moment. The whole event was beautiful, but towards the end, we really knew the Holy Spirit was there by the way it was just moving, and people was just praising God. And I had got the mic when my husband was finished because he had got down on his knees and just surrendered. And I was like, it's just the Holy Spirit. I started crying a little bit on the mic, and I just felt led to say that I'm appreciative of everyone that's here. Like by that time, more people had left, so it might have been maybe 50 people there by that time. And I was like, who's here is who's meant to be here. It doesn't matter that we don't have a packed out stadium yet. It's just the first one. But I'm so thankful that on the first one, the Holy Spirit met us. On the first one, we know it was a success. And as long as you touch one, that's all you need.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
In the sense of getting back to the film world, the film that you're working on is about postpartum depression, which is something that a lot of people don't even know they have.
Yep.
You know, because you go through something traumatic, and people either, of course, in the black community, they tell you pray about it.
Of course.
It's gonna be okay. Don't worry about it, baby. Just keep going. Yeah, true enough. Yeah, I do have to pray about it. It will be okay, and I do have to keep going. But let me talk about this.
Right.
I need to talk about this. So I want you to talk a little bit more about why you did this film, because we know as creatives, we don't do nothing for no reason. There's always something that inspires us to do this.
Well, I have always been the type of person who pushed the envelope and always questioned everything. And, why are we doing this? Does that make sense to do? And I know in the black community, I grew up, I dealt with a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, a lot of just, feeling off. And of course it was, pray about it. Oh, God can, give to God. And it's like, okay, all of that may be true, but what can I do practically to help me with this? Because people don't realize the black community, to me, I believe, which I don't have any scientific, evidence to back this up, but other than me growing up in a black community, I feel like we are the most traumatically people. Like, we went through so much trauma and we have so many mental issues, but we never talk about it, or we never try to figure out, how to do better. And we just keep passing it on and on and on and on, and it goes down the family line, on and on and on. So I think that is why I write about stuff that starts the conversation. Yeah. My first film was about domestic violence against men, specifically black men, because I've seen it. I've seen it. And I just wanted to start that conversation. So it drove me into a lot of research and different things like that. And postpartum depression is more than just, baby blues, or after you have a child. It's something where you're going through changes. People don't realize childbirth is the closest to death somebody gets. Like, that's scientifically backed up. Yeah. Like, they used to put women under anesthesia, but they stopped it because women were waking up with no memory. Like, they will lose all their memory. So it's really a traumatic experience that women go through. So you go through this traumatic experience, your chemical balances are all out of whack, your body is doing something, like you literally just birthed a human being out of your body. And that's where postpartum depression happens. And you hear these stories about these women putting their child in the oven, and I know this is kind of heavy, but it's real.
It's true.
women putting their kids in the oven, or women driving their kids off the bed. Like these people aren't crazy. They just they're going through a type of depression. Not all of them, but a lot of these cases is where women have gone through this traumatic experience. Their mental chemical balance is off. So they're doing things that they never would do. And so it made me want to write a story about it to bring awareness to it, because a lot of people, everybody's there for the baby shower, everybody's there for the gender reveal, but after the woman has the baby, nobody's there.
Everybody's
nobody's coming to check on her. Everybody, oh, let me see the baby, but nobody's asking how mom is doing. How is mom's mental health? How is mom's physical health? She's still feeding the baby, or her body is still going through these changes. So it just made me want to write a story to shed light on these things. And I'm kind of nervous, to be honest, about this. I should have put a warning on the beginning of the film, because it dives into some heavy stuff. And I know a couple people who are pregnant or who just had a baby. And I really don't want to make it traumatic for them. But at the end of the day, it's life, and it's real. And I want people to understand, or just get awareness that, okay, maybe I need to check a little bit more on mom, or I need to make sure mom is okay. Because these are things that people actually go through. And you'll see in the film that, like I said, it gets kind of heavy, and it's like, okay, this is real. This is something that people actually go through. So I just like to start conversations about things that we, the Black community, don't like to talk about. Because I know a lot of women who have told me about, situations and how they were feeling after they had a child, and I'm sure they didn't want to talk about that with anybody, because people probably would think they were crazy, or they probably would call the police because they didn't think the baby was safe. But sometimes that's what you have to do, because they don't understand that they're actually going through a chemical change in their body, and it's not them. It's just it's just the things that their body is going through, and they do need their support.
Yeah, absolutely. It that definitely needs to be talked about. Yeah, I'm proud of you for having the courage to go there, because there's artists who make stuff that's they know going to be popular, and then there's artists who make stuff they know is going to rock the boat. And the ones that rock the boat is the one that makes the most timeless art. So I thank you for doing that. It makes me think about the film we started on a couple of years ago that I wrote, called Unnormal. And it's basically about this couple. It's a young couple. The woman suffers from severe anxiety, and the man, he suffers from bipolar disorder. So in the midst of them dealing with their own, they have to deal with each other. And anybody who knows anything about those two mental illnesses, it's kind of hard for those two people to coincide, because she's always panicky, and he don't know what he's going to be in the next 30 minutes. So I want to say I commend you, and I'm proud of you for doing that, because I can't speak on it. My wife can speak on it when it comes to having a baby, because she's had 3 of our beautiful children. And I want you to speak on, maybe, I don't know if it was after we had Harmony, or was it after Melody that you kind of wasn't really feeling yourself?
So we got blessed to have babies back to back. It is so fun. But no, so KO was cool. Like we had KO. Of course, I had the normal feelings of being sore. I did not realize how sore you would be after having a child. And no one told me about that part, like how long it took your body to recover. They don't just say 6 weeks because of 6 weeks. It's really going to take your body that amount of time, if not longer, to just feel normal again. So that was definitely a change. And on top of being sore, you have to take care of a human now. So like, I want to lay down and rest, and I got a baby. Like we should have some type of aftercare or something, but that's another conversation for another day. But I don't understand how we gotta get ourselves well, but now we gotta give all ourselves to our child. Like, that's a lot. But with Harmony came about 2 years, and when she came, we was like, okay, that's a good time span. If we have another child, we're gonna wait 2 years. I got pregnant 5 months after Harmony was born, and I'm not gonna lie, I was not excited because I had just had a baby. So I was like, oh my God, like, I'm pregnant again. Like,
Yeah.
Like, we just had a baby.
That was my reaction.
Like,
I was like-
and that's what he said. He was like, so every time I said I was pregnant, Chris can never say the word. He just be like, you pregnant? Like, he say, you pregnant? So with Melody, he was like, you pregnant? Like, he couldn't believe it. But no, with her though, when she came, I felt a little postpartum out the harmony because we had a shift in our career, and I wasn't happy about it. And to know months later I had those feelings on top of getting pregnant again, that didn't help. That did not help. That's when I first went into therapy for a serious amount of time. I found the therapist. I got really adamant about it, and I was having therapy sessions every week. And it felt like 6 months. It felt like nothing was improving. Like my mental, like the way I felt about myself, depression was forming. I had anxiety on a level that I had never had it before, and I'm pregnant. So on top of being depressed and having anxiety, I was worried about my child, because I was like, man, my child is not going to be a happy baby because I'm always sad. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm always frustrated. Like, I know I wasn't ready for her to come, but I don't want her to think that she's not wanted. Like, she's already loved. Mm-hmm. It's just that I wanted her to wait another year. But I got through it with the help of my husband, with the help of our family, with the help of my therapist. Shout out to her. And we got through it, but that was hard. Mm-hmm. That becoming a wife and a mother are two of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. And I've done some great things. I've done some hard things, but those two things tops all the things that I've ever done. And I don't regret it, but I commend women for you who are taking time to share our story, because it's not easy. Mm-mm. And I say, when you become a mother, you really do get a superpower that you didn't know you had. Right. Like it gets something, it bursts. It was in you, but now it becomes alive. And all of a sudden, you're doing things you never thought you could do. But on top of that, with the 3 children that we have, with the husband that I have, I used to look at who I am, who I was becoming at that time as a failure, because it's like, we're taught at a certain age we need to be selfish in our 20s, and then like in our 30s we can start thinking about a man, and then towards the middle we can start thinking about kids and things like that. Well, all my stuff happened like in my 20s. Like, I was married 24, maybe 24, and then I immediately got pregnant like 4 months later. Then I'm pregnant again 2 years later. Then I'm pregnant again 5 months later. I'm like, what about Ori? Like, all I did was graduate college. I hadn't really established my career yet. But God has shown me that you can do all things. Like with him, like I'm able to be married, have 3 children, have this radio show, have a full-time business, produce content on the side. Like my husband said, we worked on a movie last year. Like we're still getting it done with a right support system. You can still do it. With taking care of yourself and making time for you, you can still do it. But again, I commend women like you who are telling the story, because we do have those moments where we doubt ourselves and we think we can't do it. And women like you are here to say, yes, you can. I'm here to spotlight you and say thank you. So I appreciate you, girl.
Yeah, I definitely commend you. I don't have any children, but I definitely went through a traumatic issue. I have ovarian cysts, and I had to have a surgery. Yeah. It was supposed to be just like a LASIK, cut here. But they end up having to like give me the C-section cut, and the surgeon had to go in with his hand and dig around.
And you had to heal.
What?
Like you had a baby.
When I woke up, immediately when I woke up, which I almost died, but that's another story another time. But when I woke up, immediately I told my mama, I'm not having any children. Like this was scary. This is painful. I could not blink without hurting. Like you said, you don't know how many muscles you have in this area until you can't move them. Like I couldn't. It was terrible, and I commend every woman who have had a baby, especially those who have C-sections, multiple C-sections, because that is painful. And it took my body, like I tumble and things like that. It took me almost 3 months to even go back into a back bend, because I was so scared of the pain that I would have. So I definitely commend all women who have kids. And I want to backtrack to what you were saying about having people around after you have the child. I think they used to do that back in the day.
Really?
Like, I believe, and I don't know if it's in America, but I have read somewhere where like they have a whole community of women who come in and support the mom. And that is crazy to me that we don't have that. Because like you said, you just had a baby. Like your body is trying to come back to its normal shape, you know, normal structures and systems. On top of that, you have to take care of a human who don't even know what's going on.
Do nothing but
so
cry.
it's like, why don't we have that kind of support for newly mothers? And it's crazy because in America, which I don't know if I can say that, but in America, it's like we take childbirth. It's like the bottom of the bottom. Like, it's like, oh yeah, you just had a baby. We'll see you in 6 months. Come back to work. Like, no, it don't work that way. I mean, yeah, 6 weeks, 6 weeks. But in some country, I can't remember where, when I was doing my research, they have several months. And then the husband is even able to take months off for maternity leave. And I'm like, why don't we have that here in the world's greatest country? Like, what's going on? Because it like your body is like, I don't think people understand childbirth. Like, this is something astronomical. Like, this is huge. You're delivering a human being. So that might be my next story.
I love
trying to figure out why we don't have that kind of system set up.
We're gonna dive into that. We're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna give a shout out to our sponsors, Poncho's Grab and Go. They are located in Hazelhurst, Mississippi. If you need some good lunch meat, good sandwich, good drinks, go by Poncho's in Hazelhurst, Mississippi, and get what you need.
And we back on the We Komplete Podcast here on DG93. I'm your host, Complete. My beautiful co-host, She Complete. We got the wonderful Vanesha, Chanta in the building. And we're talking about childbirth.
Yes.
Something I can't speak on, which I'm gonna speak from the man's perspective. It is, and women, don't get me wrong, it's just as strenuous on us as well. Now, it's not strenuous on our body.
Yeah, it's not physical.
But it's strenuous on us mentally because we have to still, like you said, we don't get maternity leave. We still got to go to work. So we have to go to work. When we had KO, I was working with Brookhaven Police Department, and I'm working 12-hour shifts. So I'm waking up at 5-something in the morning to get ready for work. I kiss my son. I go to work at 6. I get home at 6 in the afternoon, maybe 7. She's had the baby all day. It's my turn. Now I have to not only dodging bullets all day, but now I got to dodge throw up. I got to change Pampers. And then when he finally do get to sleep, I still have to be husband. I have to make sure the house is secure. I have to make sure everything is functioning how it's supposed to function. And I lay down and go to sleep for like 3 hours. Now, on top of KO sleeping 4 hours a day. He only slept like 4 hours a day for a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
People don't believe us.
So,
I definitely believe.
So I'm hearing a crying baby. I'm not sleeping.
Yeah.
So I'm having to go back to work, and I'm having to protect and serve, and I'm on high alert because I haven't slept in months. And some of my partners will tell you, sometimes I'm in the car asleep. I let them drive. I like, man, look, just drive for about an hour. Let me get some sleep. Right. But think about the fact that with the husband or the dad, nothing stops for us. You know, women, y'all gonna have that moment where, you know, that brief moment where everybody's around you, they're coming, they're checking on the baby and stuff like this. You know, if they're not checking on you, they got the baby, they're changing Pampers, they're playing with the baby. Dad is just pushed in the background. People forget we're there. So we're just afterthought now. So like, hey, I'm finna go to work. Nobody cares. Hey, I'm hungry. Find something to eat. We got the baby. So, but I'm not speaking on this in the sense of like trying to compare it, because I would never compare what we go through, what y'all go through. I'm talking about us only. We have to be there for both. This is what I'm saying. Let's be there for the mom and the dad, because the baby needs both.
They do.
You know, we live in a society now where they're trying their best to tell you that kids don't need both parents. That is a lie.
Absolutely.
Kids need both.
The whole
They
community.
need nurturing and they need structure.
Yeah.
You know, and back to what you were talking about is like, it's what bothers me as Black people, as we call ourselves African Americans, but we don't take up none of the African traits.
Culture.
We don't take up none of their culture. They're a community. They're family. There's a hierarchy. They understand chain of command, but we don't take none of that. But we want to call ourselves African American. Nah. No,
Right.
we're black.
Right. We really, it's really sad because I feel so displaced. Like,
Yeah.
we don't have any kind of culture. Like, we don't have, I don't know. I just really feel displaced as a Black American.
We made trauma our culture.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And that
I
movie,
agree.
like what you're doing right now, that kind of highlights a little bit of that. Like, we don't talk about it, but you're like, well, I'm gonna create a movie that makes us talk about it because we need to talk about
Of
it.
course.
We need to have a space where we can be comfortable with the people in the room and express ourselves. And some people don't understand how healing a conversation is.
Yeah.
Like this right now, this is therapy right now. Just having a conversation with like-minded people to encourage each other.
Right.
That you can go about your day feeling so much better because you spoke with somebody that got you. Or that at least if they didn't understand you, they heard you.
Exactly.
And they listened. That means so much. So I'm just excited to see the type of conversations that this form and continue to see it go where it needs to go. Like, this is a short film, but tell people a little bit about the process of how that works. Like, you start with a short film, but if the right person sees it, it can go to other levels and become a bigger story. Just explain that process a little bit.
Well, the thing about being an independent filmmaker, and this is just my process, you know, other people do it different ways, but I'm the type, I want to practice, if that makes sense. So this is more like a practice and, you know, getting my name out there and showing people what I can do. Because when you go into the longer film form, it's a little bit more complicated, but yeah, if the right person sees it, definitely it could, you know, open up more resources for me, open up more connections for me. So yeah, it's to me, short film, like I said, is more of a practice for me, because it don't take as much money. It does take money, but it doesn't take as much, because you look at these other films and it's like $200 million budget. Like, all I got is $200, but we gonna make it work.
We gonna figure it out.
So yeah, this is definitely a short film, and I do want to go into longer films with these topics. Like, I want to stay true to myself, and that's starting conversations that are tough to talk about, but we like to be entertained. So I'm making it in entertainment form so we can start talking about it.
I love that.
I think if the writing, me as someone as a creative, I feel like the writing should always be better than the budget. Like the filming, I feel like the writing, because we've all seen $100 million budget movies, and we're like, we just walk out like, what did I just watch?
Exactly.
I don't even remember what happened. I just know I didn't like it.
Well, I remember a good example of that was when Dave Chappelle was talking about how he was just in the right room. He was talking to producers about making a movie about people smoking marijuana, and they was like, okay, let's do it. But they said that because of who he was,
right?
Yeah.
And then he called his friend who was in the industry, like they were still up and coming, but their name was notable enough for people to take them serious, and they wrote a script. I think he said in a day,
he was like,
or a week.
Well, they weren't even gonna do it at first. He was like, "Hey, if the studio call you, tell them we doing this weed movie."
And they called him.
All right.
Do you imagine what would have happened if we got a call like that? Like, that movie would have been so much more serious, so much more well written and things like that because of who they were. They wrote a script in a week, made it to the big screens, called Half Baked. I think it was called Half Baked.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And let's be honest,
that was not. And he
filming
said
it
it's
was
not
the
a good
worst.
movie. Like,
Yeah, it was terrible. I don't even know. I've seen that movie like 5 or 6 times, and I still don't.
It's
can't
funny
tell you what
though.
happened.
It's like it's a terrible movie, but like you said, it's because of Dave Chappelle.
It's 'cause
People
of the
watched
access.
it.
Get access to S's, you know.
Yeah, but in filming, with everything we do in an artistic standpoint, whether it's music, radio, acting, photography, there's a thin line we kind of toe between, in the sense of letting the creation just be in its purest form and then trying to make it like perfect. Because true art isn't perfect. Art is the most imperfect stuff you will ever do. You know, we've all watched movies where you'll see like a painting, they'll put like it'd be like a red spot, then a blue spot, then they'll put a dandelion on it, and it'll sell for like $1 million. To us, we like, what?
What was that?
What is that? But to the artists, they saw art.
Yeah.
Somebody saw art.
Yeah.
So art at its purest form is the most imperfect stuff, because we've seen movies. I could think of one of my favorite movies, Soul Man. The scene when they was at the apartment, there was many times where they ad-libbed because they kept laughing and they were going off script. That made the scene better.
It did.
It wasn't in line with the script, but it made pure art. So I'm asking you, what's your process into creating the art, like getting the art started?
Experiences, I guess. Basically all of anything that I've ever written is from an experience I have. Now, it doesn't stay completely true to the experience. It it just helps me open up more ideas, but definitely experiences. I've been through a lot of stuff. So yeah, and that helps me stay creative. And it's when I think about like how artists and creatives create, it's kind of like, we go through a lot of stuff so we can, create stuff. Yeah. So I mean, whether good or bad, it's all about experiencing life basically, and experiencing people. And because I think the perfect art is a art that can connect with at least one person. Yeah. One person say, "Oh, that is exactly how I feel," or "Oh, yes, I love that." That's I feel heard, or I feel seen. I think that is the perfect art. And as humans, we are connected. With whatever experience we go through, you got a connection with somebody. Somebody else has gone through that, or somebody else has experienced that. So yeah.
Yeah, I like to ask that question because I remember watching this documentary, and it was talking about different filmmakers and how do they come up. And the specific one they was talking about was Stephen King. And if you know Stephen King, he done wrote some of the best horror films. And it's like, how do you write It? How do you write Pet Sematary? Cujo, which my mom gonna get mad. I do not like that movie. It's not a scary movie. It's about a dog with rabies. Shoot the dog. Movie over.
But your mom loves the movie.
But she loved that movie. But I was watching the behind the scenes of when they did the new It, when they redid it back in 2017, and they was talking about the moments when the kids saw him in the clown suit. They saw him for the first time on set. Like, so not they haven't seen him at all filming the movie. They was filming they scenes on specific days, and he was filming him. And on the moment when they first saw him in costume, it was on camera. That's why all the kids, they're like, that is our natural reaction. But as a filmmaker, as a director, that's genius. Because the kid's not faking. This dude is 6'7". This clown is here to kill us and eat us. They're seeing him for the first time right now.
I probably would have broke character and been out of there. Yeah.
And the kids said, they were like, they had to do a lot of takes because they were like, bro, them first couple of takes was rough. They're like, we just not seeing him. Yeah, but in the sense of creating art, I feel like, to me, that's genius to me. It's like, it's not, sometimes it ain't even what you created, it's how you created it.
That's true too.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you this question. When it comes to filming, the genre that you love to stick to is like, for as the kind of dramatic, that's kind of your favorite genre, or it doesn't really matter, you play? Because let's be honest, a lot of filmmakers, you stick to your Stephen King, stick to horror, he money. I can't see him doing a comedy. I don't know what that'll be like. So what is the genre you kind of feel like you're gonna fit in the best?
Honestly, I'm evolving. I love drama. I like drama. I also love love stories. But my main thing that I really want to do is like sci-fi. Like, I love seeing people with superhero powers and stuff like that. Fighting. I love action. So it's evolving slowly. So right now it is drama. That's what I've been writing. Next project is gonna be like drama / love story type thing. So yeah, just stay tuned. It might change in the next couple of years. I love it. I like creating. I love creating these worlds where people have a connection in a story, you know, no matter what it is. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about, because we were talking about it a little bit about the community when it comes to motherhood, and then I mentioned community when it comes to growing up and becoming the wife and the mother, and thankful for the environment that we're around to support us. But there's also a community for what you're doing right now. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about your team and how that formed and the people that are on the movie helping you out.
Okay. Well, actually, all but 2 people in that film are from Atlanta, which I'm so grateful for them for traveling down on my tiny budget and, you know, supporting the project and wanting to be a part of the project. But I do have a team. My friend that's sitting over there, I think we met in like 17, 18 on a photo shoot. So, and then I have another guy who's been in a few of my films. We met at an acting class. So I've always met these people in certain creative spaces, mm-hmm. which is important, because you don't want to meet somebody at a supermarket, because y'all might not, you know what I'm saying? Y'all might not. These are people that I met in the space that I wanted to be in. And they've always just supported all my, it's been about 3 projects that I filmed that have nobody seen, that has not seen the light of day. My first project, whew, that was rough. I remember one night we started filming. We actually was here in Brookhaven. This was like in 2018, 19. We started filming at like 8 o'clock that morning. We did not finish until about 4 o'clock a.m. the next day. These people were from Atlanta now. That film has not seen the light of day. And I kind of feel bad, but I'm like, you know, I needed that, so I know what not to do. So all of these people, you know, I just really appreciate them, and they know who they are, for supporting me. And, you know, as I was stumbling and learning and, you know, trying to figure this film thing out, because I didn't have anybody to tell me anything. Mm-hmm. Like, I've been ripped off. Got my money taken, you know. So basically what I'm trying to do is create a creative community where I can support people who started out like me, who had nobody, you know, in her community or around or in her household to tell you, okay, this is what you need to do if you want to start filming. I had to stumble and lose money and get stabbed in the back, mm-hmm. you know, to get where I'm at, which I'm still learning and growing. It's a lot about filmmaking that I don't know. So I'm grateful that I'm able to learn and sow that back into the community and the younger generation of who's trying to do this thing. And it has definitely helped with the support system that I have, my actors and the people who've been my director of photography and people just helping on set. And I'm very, very grateful for them, and I appreciate them so much. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you did. You did, because we get it. Because when we was filming the movie I was writing, we was doing one scene, and we were like, we're gonna go. We were telling my mom, because she wasn't the kid. We were like, we're finna go. We're gonna film this scene. We're gonna be about 2 hours. We'll be back. No,
it took like 4 hours.
No, ain't no such thing as 2 hours filming a scene.
Shout out to Mama Tina, because we lie so much when it comes to how long.
No, you.
I lie so much when it comes to how long it's going to take to do something. But I really legit be thinking that it's only going to take that amount of time. And I'm like, all right, Mama Tina, can you keep the kids, like Chris said, it'd be about 2-3 hours. It'll end up being double that amount almost every time. She come home, like, she never cuss us out, but we always know when she's tired, like with her attitude. Like, she's like, all right, go on, get your kids. Like, but just a radio shout out to Mama Tina. She listens to every episode. We're just we're so appreciative of the woman you are and the woman you have been to us. Just continue to be there for us, and we're so sorry that we keep our kids longer. That you keep our kids longer than we ask you to keep them. We want to apologize on the radio for that.
Yeah, but filming is very strenuous. Mm-hmm. It's like it ain't something you can just up and do.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's something you should definitely try if you're interested in it, but people have to understand the process. But sometimes, like you said, where we're from, we don't have a lot of people teaching us that.
Right.
We're from Mississippi. It ain't really nobody think of us to film.
Right.
So when it comes to us wanting to be filmmakers and writers and directors of photography and stuff like that, who to teach us.
Yeah.
So we really have to come together and learn.
And there's a lot of people, like you have people making films even here, but they have their crew. So you know of the crew. You know, like if you got your people, your A1 since day one, you want to keep your people. Like you don't want to bring nobody in that's kind of messing up the circle. And I get it from both perspectives. Like because I've been in the crew. I'm a part of a crew. I retired when I got pregnant, but if I wanted to get back in that crew, I could, you know. But I get it. Like you mesh with these people, y'all like-minded, y'all love each other. But at the same time, we got to support the people coming up too. Like eventually you got to give somebody that chance to be in the crew, to grow. Definitely. And if it doesn't work out, you can nicely say, you know, it doesn't work out and move on. But that's the only way we're going to help people if we bring them in. Like we can't keep being gatekeepers for everything in the film community. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's a huge gatekeeping community.
That's a whole
other conversation.
Entertainment period.
It's a gatekeeping.
Film, music, all of it.
And which, like I said, like you said, I understand both sides because it's really hard to find genuine people in this space
that genuinely want to create.
Right.
Not doing it just to.
They don't have
because some people just really want to crawl on top of you and be like, hey, look at me.
Exactly.
So it's really hard to find people who just want to work together. So yeah, I get it, but Mississippi, I'm calling y'all out. We need to we need to do better about networking. And I mean, you don't necessarily have to let these people in your house and stuff like that, but you know, just sharing resources and, you know, connecting sometimes on projects and stuff, because it really helps. And, you know, as creators, we already are outcasts. Like
people are already looking at us crazy. Like, what you doing for a living? How you feeding yourself?
What? I hate that question.
Like, where do you work at?
Where do you work at?
I hate that question. You know, so
we know exactly.
I work where I'm standing.
Yeah, we know exactly how you feel, what you've been through to a certain degree, because like you've been through it as a single Black woman, but we've been through it as a married couple with children. So imagine being creatives with kids,
right?
Multiple kids, and people asking you, okay, what is he doing? What are you doing? Like, girl, that's a whole nother conversation. But God has always provided. So this is my thing from a spiritual standpoint. This is how I feel. If God puts something in you that you can't stop thinking about, and that you can't stop dreaming about, that you can't, like, even when you are at your day job, you know, to pay the bills and things like that, you're always doing that thing. You're always going back to it. You ain't making a penny off of it, but you keep going back to it. That's what you're meant to be doing. That eventually God is going to put you in a position where that is how you make a living.
Right.
It just takes time. And it takes time for us to be patient and trust his will and things like that. But my husband and I are living testimonies of people who was doing it for free and still sometimes do it for free. But we did the day jobs. We do them as we need to do them, and things like that. But we don't stop this. Like we don't stop the conversation. Before we had our radio show, we was interviewing people in our living room, like for free. I remember when Simi came up to me and was like, "How much you charge for interviews?" And I was like, "I could charge for this."
Wait a minute, hold on.
I was like, I didn't even think about that. I've been doing this for free. And he gave me $50, and that meant so much to me. Like that meant so much for him to give me $50 to do an interview. And I did the same way I did it, but it just made me feel some type of way, because I was like, I got paid to do this one.
I need to shout Simi out. You know, it's my brother.
Simi is.
He gave me some equipment. He definitely.
Simi is.
He helped me on my journey.
He's a jewel. He's good people. Like when he paid me to interview Casino that time, that was years ago. He don't know this, but he'll know it now as listening to this episode. That meant so much. Like that made me view myself as a professional. Like I wasn't just a girl with a camera going around in Brookhaven talking to people. Like, no, he viewed me seriously. He contacted me as a professional and said, "How much do you charge?" I sent him a invoice and a contract. He paid it. He came. You know what I'm saying? It was in our living room in our apartment. And we treated it like a business transaction. He was one of the first people that made me believe that I could do it. And I just want to say thank you, Simi.
And we collaborated on the knowledge video too. I mean, y'all
showed so much love. He bought
you directed, he filmed.
I directed it. Like you and I have been connected without being connected for so many years. Like we have like-minded friends. We got friends that are friends of each other. We got family that is family of each other. And it's like, when I seen you, like you were talking about support, that's what I thought of. As soon as I seen the flyer, I was like, she should be on the radio show. It wasn't a second question. Like, we got a platform. Why not put her on our platform to talk about some things that she's doing? I'm not for the gatekeep this. She's going to get an opportunity to let the people know that listen to the show what's going on. And if it helps you in any way, we're grateful for that.
Yeah.
We're the type of people that want to see people grow. You don't meet a lot of them like that.
Right.
Yeah.
But we legit, like every time we talk to you on camera and off camera, you know this because you've known us for years now. We really want you to make it. And
Yeah.
we know you're going to.
The next person's
sure.
success ain't gonna stop ours. People have to
Yeah.
understand that. Like, people gotta really, a lot of people, they want what comes with it. They don't want the actual grind.
Right,
Ooh,
right.
You don't
that
want the
part.
actual grind,
That
because
part.
I remember talking to a young artist and I was like, you want to be a great artist? And they're like, yeah. I like, so how often are you doing shows? How often are you in the studio? You like, we know every now and then. I like, wrong answer. Like, wrong answer.
Yep.
And I was telling them about this time I worked at Walmart in Hazehurst. And this one weekend, I went to work Friday morning, 4 a.m. I got off work at 1 o'clock. I got right in the car. I drove all the way to Grenada, Mississippi. I did a show till 3 a.m. I came all the way back from Grenada, Mississippi, went straight to Walmart, worked 8 to 5 Saturday, got off work 5 o'clock Saturday, got in the car, drove to Tupelo, Mississippi, did another show till 4 a.m, got in the car, drove back to Hazehurst Sunday morning, worked 8 to 5 and went home. No sleep.
Yeah.
I said, if you ain't willing to do that, stop talking to me.
Right. Yeah.
You don't want it like you say you do, because people who really want this, like you said, y'all start at 8 a.m. I ain't until 4 the next morning. You know, I know you have some grumpy,
Oh yeah.
some grumpy crew
was
members,
something.
but the process, it's the things like when your first film do make the movie theater or streaming, you're gonna think about that moment. You're gonna think about that first one. You're like, man, you remember when we started? Especially if some of the crew members are still there. You're
Yeah.
like, bro, y'all remember when we first did?
We talk about it all the time.
Yeah, you know, when we first did, like, you know, I had like my wife said, I got emotional doing the show this past Saturday because I did a show on my high school field. And I remember my first show was at a 16-year-old birthday party, and it was like 50 people in the building. And just to fast forward all to this moment, like, bruh, I did a show on my high school field. It's a surreal moment. You think about the process, and I feel like when people start, they get more focused on the process than the product. That's when it becomes, you know, pure, authentic art, and it becomes a beautiful moment.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to definitely fall in love with the process. Something I'm still learning. Cause I'll say this, I definitely went years and years and years without doing any music. And I guess I got kind of discouraged, you know.
Got the voice, though.
You can't, thank you. You can't, for one, and this is to whatever creative is listening out there, young, old, whoever. For one, you cannot look for everybody's applause, because everybody's not going to be happy that you're doing what you want to do.
That's good.
2, you cannot look for overnight gratification, because it probably won't happen.
Don't exist.
For years. For years. So you definitely have to fall in love. If you say this is your passion, be passionate about it, regardless if you're getting paid, regardless if you're getting 1 million views, whatever. Do this because you want to do it, because you love to do it. And like I said, I'm talking to myself because I'm just now getting back into the groove of putting my music out, working on projects, you know, and not expecting anybody to applaud for me, which there are, and I have plenty of supporters and I'm grateful for them. But sometimes we get in our own way, you know, because we like, okay, well, I'm doing all this. When is my time gonna come? Especially on social media. I have to delete social media every so often because it's like, God, I'm doing all this and I've worked harder than them.
Yeah.
Why are they getting, you know what I'm saying? Why are they getting all these applause?
My product better.
Right. And you never even know what somebody doing in the background. Like it's we gotta think about social media as social media. Like it's not real. People only putting out what they want to put, the good side. So definitely artists, do it because you want to do it. It's gonna pay off regardless. Like you said, if you got that pull, that's what you're supposed to be doing. But it's like social media has made us feel like things should happen overnight, and that's just not how stuff works. Like you definitely gotta build the foundation first, and then you'll sprout up. So
yeah, we was talking about what's her name? Victoria Monet.
oh yeah.
She was talking about that song
Oh,
on
I
My
love-
Mama.
yeah.
She,
Oh,
she was like
yeah.
she recorded that song in the studio with
With
her
her
child,
baby.
getting ready to quit music because she had been doing it for over 10 years.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, like you said, they think we look at social media, we were like, oh, who this person? They blow up. We're like, man, another overnight success. Man, they've been grinding for years. Like her. A lot of people don't know her was signed. She been signed to the label since she was 15. They just finally started like putting her out in the forefront, but she's been there.
But I also like them doing it because of artist development too, and she
they developed her. That's why she's dope.
I don't know if y'all know Tori Kelly. I've heard her.
We know Tori Kelly.
Right. I remember when she won. I don't know if it was she won something at a gospel.
Her voice
award.
is amazing.
And a lot of I was listening to a radio show and they were talking about, oh yeah, how she win this over such and such, and they've been doing this for years and years. I'm like Tori has been singing for. I remember when she was making beats with her mouth for her music years ago. She even went to American Idol and Simon told her voice was annoying and she would never make it.
Wow.
And it's like unless you have followed this art, which you all the time you don't get to follow this art, but I've been watching Tori since she been posting on YouTube making beats with her mouth.
Wow.
And like a lot, they were mad. I'm like, no, she put in the work. This girl has been working and singing and doing all of this stuff from a very young age. Yeah, she seemed like she blew up overnight, but she didn't. She was putting in the work. She was doing, posting on YouTube, wasn't getting no views. And she has a beautiful voice. And she even had a famous person tell her that her voice sucked. But she winning awards and stuff in movies and stuff like this. So it'll happen if that's what if you feel pulled to do it, you're meant to do it. But, you just got to trust the timing on it. All the time we're not ready for the stuff that we want. I definitely
that's good too.
Yeah, I definitely know I wasn't ready for a lot of the stuff that I thought I wanted. I wasn't ready for it at the time. Even now I'm still being prepared for certain things. We want to be famous. I had a TikTok video blow up and I was not ready for that. Like the comments and stuff, if I probably would have went into bad depression because it was just a innocent video. I had no idea it was gonna blow up like that, and it did. And I was going through the comments, and people were so mean. I'm like, yeah, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah.
So,
imagine if that was every day.
Exactly.
Every single day. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, we just trust the process. Trust it. Like if you believe that this is what you're supposed to be doing, keep doing it. It'll pay off eventually.
I love that. And we also have to remember that some people say overnight success. You're only saying it because the camera wasn't always on that person. Like if they had a camera crew this whole time, like Kanye. When we watched that documentary on Netflix, how he had his camera guy, I respected Kanye so much more after we watched that because I was like, okay, he really has been working. Like he was going through the record label company, playing a song that's now a hit song, but back then he was kind of just shoving it off. Or the people that really liked it couldn't give him the yes. The top people was ignoring his name.
They just didn't want to. Yeah. They didn't want to pay to put his album out.
Yeah.
So he borrowed studio time, like from Ludacris and other artists. He would just go use their studio time to record his album, and he paid for his own first music video. And he did Through the Wire with his mouth wired. Like I'm like, bro, if you don't respect this dude, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. So he had the cameras on him, but we usually don't have the cameras on our process of what we're going through, how we're getting through it. But when we do. Even if somebody do call us overnight one day, just let them talk. Just let them talk because you've put in the work, you put in the time, you put in the effort to be who you are today, and you keep going. I just want to let you know you are where you are meant to be right now in this moment. Do not discredit that. Do not forget that. Do not feel like you're disqualified just because you're right here. You're right here for a reason, and you're gonna blossom from this moment on forward. You are a part of Making Mississippi.
Thank you.
We love y'all. We hope that you've listened to this episode and you feel complete. That if you had some dreams and you kind of put them to the side, you now want to go back and light them back up because you've listened to 3 dreamers on this episode talk about how you got to put it in the work and your time will come.
Let's get that date of that premiere one
repeat
more time.
your date again.
Okay. Love Forever After, a postpartum depression story, will be premiered August 25th at 5 p.m. in Bourgogne, Mississippi. You can go to my Facebook at Vanesha Chanta and
spell it out.
VANESHACHANTA and go to my page and RSVP. Seating is limited.
Love it. We hope that you all feel complete. We'll talk to y'all next week.